Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying. I gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. And about how fast I get there. And about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb.
Our Catholic schools educate the entire person, from an academic side, from a spiritual side, physically, emotionally. There's an environment in those schools of faith and compassion, and of course rigorous academic standards as well. You may know some of these figures, but the reality is that the Archdiocese of Chicago's Catholic schools, this is one of the largest private school systems in the nation. 214 schools serving more than 78,000 students throughout Cook and Lake counties. The Archdiocese of Chicago is the recipient of the greatest number of U.S. Department of Education Blue Ribbon Awards of any school system, public or private, in the nation. Yeah, no kidding.
We're here to celebrate the great things that happen every day in the classrooms across the 214 Catholic schools of the Archdiocese. The many ways that our students benefit from the excellent teaching, the ways that they emerge equipped with the knowledge and faith they need to succeed. You heard Alan talk a little bit about our Blue Ribbon Awards and other great things in Catholic education. You're familiar with the success stories. Our achievement rates are some of the highest in the country. You know that we graduate over 98% of our students. Over 96% go on to colleges and universities. You know that each year our students dedicate thousands of hours to benefiting our communities through service. You've probably heard that Catholic school graduates are 10 times more likely to attend Mass regularly as adults and over 5 times more likely to consider a vocation to the priesthood or religious life. Catholic education is changing lives every day.
I want to tell you how grateful I am for the commitment that you're making to our schools, and also to the families and the students that benefit from all that we're doing here today. We are here to encourage all of them, administrators, staff, teachers, and parents and children, to be a community always that's ready to learn, to serve, lead, and succeed. That is the theme of this 2018 Catholic Schools Week that we're beginning this week.
For over 150 years, Catholic schools in this great archdiocese, as well as around the country, have provided educational opportunity to millions of students, sacred places where many times immigrants, peoples could retain their faith and culture, even as they required knowledge and skills to participate more fully in the economic and civic life of this country. Really, Catholic schools is one of the more remarkable success stories of America. Success from the perspective of our nation in training generations of leaders and laborers who have made this nation what it is. Success from the perspective of the church in forming people in faith. And success from the perspective of apostolic service, giving young people a richer lives.
Alex came to St. Genevieve 3 years ago in kindergarten, wide-eyed and ready to learn, knowing very little English. His single mom, a cleaning lady, wanted a quality Catholic education for him and knew that it was going to take quite a bit of sacrifice. Her investment in his education became apparent from day one. When he started to read, he started bringing home library books in English, and she took every single word from that book, put it in her phone in order to translate it so that she could ask him questions to prepare him for his reading tests. At one point during that first year, I remember her coming into the office and confiding in our secretary that she just didn't know if she could keep making the sacrifice month after month. It was getting really difficult. About 3 weeks later, she came back into our office in tears, telling us the following story. She took Alex to Spanish Mass one weekend. Bishop Rojas happened to be saying the Mass at St. Genevieve that day. And in the middle of the Eucharistic prayer, he stood up, kind of out of nowhere, pointed to the altar, and said, "That's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be him." You can imagine the tears that fell from our faces in the office as she told us this story. And as she told us that she knew that God was truly at work, that it was God's plan for Alex to be at St. Genevieve, and that no matter what, she was going to figure it out and she was going to make that sacrifice. Today, Alex, our pastor in training, has a bright future at St. Genevieve. He's now in 3rd grade. He's one of the top students in his class. He's fluent in English and Spanish, a skill that I truly wish I had, and he embodies the joy of learning. Not to mention his Halloween costume resembled that of Father Tim, our pastor this year.
They educate the mind, they educate the heart, they educate the spirit. And so when my youngest daughter, Claire, comes out of Sunday brunch, we go to brunch after Mass on Sundays, usually they get to pick the restaurant, and saw a homeless person, and we had taken some of our leftovers. Claire was the first to say, "That man looks hungry, let me give him something to eat." She wouldn't have had that instinct had not her Catholic school exposed her to the plight of those less fortunate than we are, and put that in front of us as an evangelical challenge and something our children actually need to be concerned about. Our children may be the next leaders of the world, but they need to be put in front of the challenges of the world and not protected from them. And so I know that the Catholic schools who care for the whole person, and who does that best? The teachers. So for all of you teachers out there who have made my children better Christians because of your care, thank you.